We went into the clinic, the office, and they gave us some paperwork. And the very first question was, define abortion. And I didn't know how to define it, but I had looked, to Jeff and just said, how would you define abortion? And he said, just put that it's a form of birth control.
I don't remember much about that except taking her down there. I do remember it was very cold and dark and not a very friendly place. There was no one there that counseled us to say, gosh, you guys are engaged to be married and this is your baby, this is a child. It was very quick. It was get her in, do the exam, come back a day or two later, and we had the abortion. From there, we didn't talk about it. We wanted to please our parents and we didn't want to shame them, we didn't want to embarrass them. For me, that was probably the biggest reason. As bad as that sounds today, that we took the life of our child because we didn't want to be embarrassed, is horrible. But we just didn't understand at that time.
The grief set in, even though I don't think we fully understood what we were grieving, but we started our married life.
And we just felt a real tugging to begin to go find a church. And we began throwing really all of our worldly work ethic into church. And I think that was our way of masking even this in church. Abortion or life was not an issue anyone spoke of. Our pastor never talked about life or the issue, and we didn't bring it up. So we thought it was really the unforgivable sin. And it wasn't until that church ended up breaking up that we lost our church home. Finally found the village and ended up staying there. But it was during that process that we found ourselves in Christian counseling. And I'll never forget that first day, Tricia just began to cry uncontrollably. I had never seen her like that. But as we got underneath those tears, it all came down to the decision now 25 years ago. But it wasn't until that day that we began to talk about it, and there's no taking it back. There's no making the second decision. It's done. Once you take the life of your child, it's something that we've lived with for 25 years. Entering counseling was really the beginning of our healing. It was taking something that was so dark and something that we had really suppressed for so many years and be able to bring it into the light for the first time. And then that same week, Brian Fisher handing me his Human Coalition card and allowing me to see a ministry that was beginning to stand in the gap for others. And so that was really the beginning of what now is one of the largest pro-life organizations in the country. It's saved over 6,500 children. And that's just God's goodness of allowing me to be a part of that. And part of our hope today is to educate people and to encourage them, even that when you're in sin, obviously we weren't serving the Lord, but that God will redeem those things. The Lord allowed us to begin to take something that had almost destroyed our marriage and each other and begin to help others and let the Lord, through our testimony, help stand in the gap for those who are sitting in the pews that are dealing with this issue every day.